Hello, welcome to the Bronze Age Monsters bonus show. This is a show we make each and every week for our loyal and loverly patrons. And we're going to talk about a movie. We'll talk about things that are themed to the issue that we talked about this week, which was Strange Tales 174, which you can hear on the main show in just a few days if you're watching this.
173.
173.
Yeah.
Yes.
You somehow got ahead mentally, and you've been ahead like in the Google Drive that we share. You've also been one issue ahead.
Wow.
Numbering wise. That
is strange, but that's okay. You know, I guess I was just so excited. I was going ahead one number. But tonight we are going to be talking about Isle of the Snake People with Boris Karloff, and that was directed by, who's that director? How do you say his name?
Juan Ibáñez.
Juan Ibáñez. And the U.S. scenes were directed by Jack Hill, which we'll talk about a little bit.
Yeah.
But So, Matt, you and our Discord friends watched this on the watch along. I was unable to, so I watched it the next night with my wife. And we have some things to say about this one.
Yes, we did miss you, and we've talked about a lot on the show, but this is one of those ones where watching it in a crowd is definitely preferable. To have some people to make comments to and just kind of virtually hug each other a little bit
when it gets really, really bad.
Yeah. So these movies, this is a package of 4 films that Azteca, this film company in Mexico City, did, and they signed Boris Karloff, and they wanted him to appear in a limited role just for his name value. This was 1968. They wanted him to go to Mexico City, which has a very high altitude, and he was dying essentially of emphysema at the time, and so he could not handle that altitude. So they compromised, and he went to LA, and he originally refused the scripts. So the films are Fear Chamber, which sounds very Lovecraftian, like they find some rock while mining or something like that, and it feeds off of fear, and it sounds bizarre, and I'm going to watch that one. I've always loved the poster for it. The Incredible Invasion is a 19th century set alien invasion movie, which touch and go. And House of Evil, which I think it sounds a lot like the Skull Mountain thing, or Cat and the Canary, where like I think a relative dies, all the relatives come for the reading of the will, and then they start getting knocked off one by mechanical dolls.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds kind of interesting.
These are all Karloff rejected them initially, and then Jack Hill rewrote the scripts to a point where Karloff would agree to be in them, and he got paid $100,000 per film for his appearances in them. He was in such poor health that he was in a wheelchair between takes. Stand-ins are used pretty liberally. If you see a shot that has Karloff in it, his character, and you don't see his face, it's not him. No. So they took this footage that they shot in LA with Jack Hill and went back to Mexico City and shot the rest of the films after the fact. The producer who penned this whole deal died, and then the rights or whatever to the footage or whatever all got hung up for a while in like a family battle. I think that was Luis Enrique Vergara. He died, and they just were kind of in limbo for a bit. Karloff died a year later in 1969, and then they started dribbling out like discharge from a diseased penis over the next couple of years. So if you can't tell by the way I'm talking about them, they're not held in very high regard by anyone.
I honestly think this is the lowest rated on IMDb movie we've watched. It's a 3.3.
Damn, you think that's the lowest?
I think it is. I think even Satan War.
We'll have to start keeping track.
We do, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like you were saying, Boris Karloff was very ill. I think he had one lung because he had one removed from cancer. So, yeah, he's not looking great, though he does admirably at his job. Like, he's fucking Boris Karloff. He's not bad.
He's not Krusty the Clown in this.
No, he's not. And well, my God, think of how many days did he have to work to make $400,000 in 1968? Like, fucking A, man, that's some pretty good money for 4 days, maybe.
Yeah, I imagine they probably shot each of these films probably took about 2 or 3 days on a soundstage. So they probably worked for a week.
Yeah, It's crazy
$400,000
money.
of 1968 money.
1968 money. I know. When I read that, I was like, fucking hey, Boris, the way to go. Like, he was still that big of a draw and that big of a name. So yeah, that was a coup for him that he conned these poor schmucks out of $400,000. But his name is the draw, and his scenes are the best in the film. It's a confounding film in a lot of ways. The scenes with Boris Karloff are by far the best, and they make the most sense. The main actors I liked, like, the top four, I thought they were fine. It was just the rest of the film that was so weird. It was, I don't know.
What's odd is that you hear the backstory behind this and you would think, oh, so the Karloff scenes would be just like this, same thing with like Ed Wood, like with the last footage of Lugosi. Like, you think it would just be this like repeating things and just having them reversed and dubbing over stuff just to add new dialogue in Karloff's mouth with people making ADR. They're the most coherent part. The part where they handed that footage off to the production team and they went to Mexico and shot the rest of the film, that's where it falls apart.
It's awful.
And it's a really frustrating line for me as a Psychotronic movie fan, where it's like, it's not that level of like being an Ed Wood or a, whatever, where it's like you're incompetent and it's like, holy shit, like, how would you not do a second take of that or whatever? It's just competent enough to where it's like, this is boring. Like,
yeah,
it's gibberish. And there's parts where it almost achieves kind of a psychedelic counterculture kind of vibe, when there's this dwarf who dresses up like Baron Samedi with like weird like granny John Lennon sunglasses and a top hat, and he stalks around with his little baked bean teeth and leers and laughs and whatever. Like, there's some stuff where it's like, this should be okay, but it's just not. And the plot's muddled. I watched it with the group, and then I watched it just before we started here at 2x speed on YouTube with the subtitles on, because I could not bear, this is a full fucking 90 minutes. And I was like, I can't do 90 minutes. I could do 45 while, checking Discord.
Even that's rough, but I commend you for
not a lot of fun. But what was fun was watching Yolanda Montez dance at 2x speed. That was kind of funny.
That would be pretty funny. Yeah,
because she's a little bit of that footage in here. Just
I love it because she's just belly dancing.
Yeah,
like, this is not too much having to do with voodoo. But
not at all. And so I was surprised to look her up. Her name was Tongolele, and she was born in Spokane, Washington.
No shit.
Yeah. So she was into the dance and vedette. I'm sure you know this word. I had to look this word up. I'd never even heard of it before. She was an actress and a dancer, and she was in vedette, which is some sub-genre of cabaret dancing. Like a subgroup of like vaudeville and cabaret that was new to me. And it's like a French word, Veddette. So I learned a new word today. And they went down to Mexico, and she was in a group of vedettes called Exoticas. And they went down to like Mexico and performed, and they were this huge, big people flipping their wigs and doing the whole Tex Avery Wolf thing over her. So she stayed down there and danced and had a career. She released an album called Tongolele Sings for You. Again, her real name is Yolanda Montez. So her name is like it's just some nonsense. It's like two words put together from different languages, just to be like, sound like it was like Tahitian exotic. And exotic during this whole exotic boom. So, she's kind of interesting, and I want to hear her album, Tongolele Sings for You.
I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. 10 tracks. I think like Capitol put it out or something like that. We'll have to find it. So yeah, she dances a lot. She has like a white streak of hair. That is real. By all these pictures I see of her, that she seems to have been born with that. Like
that's cool.
Probably would have been drowned 500 years ago.
Exactly. It's her streak like Rogue.
Yeah. She has so she dances a lot. I guess the gist of the thing is there's this island. It seems to be super remote. Like, this is not the Caribbean. Like, this is like dead smack between Africa and like Cuba. Like, it's right in the middle of the Atlantic, and like, it's totally remote, very small. And part of it is like, the only thing that kept me going through a lot of the beginning was like the premise is like where it's like this this shitty pre-Wicker Man, like folk horror thing where it's like this guy from the continent of Europe. I never was quite. They say hair. So is he German? Labiche?
Yeah, but he's French half the time,
Yeah,
and German half the time. Okay. Yeah, it's really fucking confusing.
So this is an occupied island by the military, and there's been word sent back that the military men are all sliding into drink and being lazy and shiftless and probably raping the women or something. Who knows what the fuck they're getting up to? But this guy gets sent out to whip them into shape, and yeah. So there's this whole like outsider coming into a culture that he knows nothing about, bringing his European values in and trying to put those onto people. But again, I'm giving this way too much credit. It's not even that thought out or anything at all.
It's not.
But yeah, so he's our lens into this world. We meet this guy named Von Mulder, who is Karloff's character. He kind of is the wealthy guy who runs the sugar plantations. His niece shows up who is a teetotaler, and she wants him to help her stop drinking, improve the world. That's what she kept saying. This group will improve the world.
So what era do you think this took place in?
That's what I was asking the group when we were watching it, because her clothing suggested like early 30s.
Yeah.
Or like you know, like during the time of Prohibition.
Yeah, but absolutely.
I couldn't tell. And I didn't think that this was really, I think I was trying, you know, I think people are just kind of saying, I think you're thinking about this too much, because it did feel just kind of nebulous. And like someone was saying, like, I think she's just like that prim and proper 30s thing you're saying or whatever, late 20s is just us, the costumer just saying she's a tight ass. Like this could be set today for all we know. I don't know. It really doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, so there are cannibal women, groups of women. There are women being resurrected. There's a really sweaty guy that he's just really sweaty, and he hangs out with the dwarf. The little person.
Yep.
Yeah, there's some cool parts, like the niece. They start to put the whammy on her, and so they bring a snake in, and they start saying like, "Give your dreams to Damballa." And then she has these trippy dreams that are just pretty much typical late 60s trippy psychedelic kind of dreams. There's at one point, like the living dead of the title, the Spanish title, are the resurrected zombies, and they're alluded to by one of the military men who's explaining this is a local custom. They have these funerals for them, and then hopefully they can prevent them from being resurrected so that they are enslaved and work on the plantations. And we see that does happen. There was the sweaty guy resurrects a girl named Maria, and they show him dancing, and Karloff's character comes into his room and is like, this is not what this is for. Like, I mean, there's hints of necrophilia, right?
Oh, definitely.
But it's not lascivious. It's not whatever. I read some review of this that was basically saying, like, by the time this was shot and in the can, and when it came out in theaters, Romero's Night of the Living Dead had come out, and so it had completely blown like this thing was so creaky and old by the time that it actually came out that it just seemed silly.
Yeah, but what a bummer it would have been if this was like one of the first zombie movies to be released. Like that would have been nightmarish.
Yeah. As far as like accuracy to this world or whatever, like there's not. I mean, in the intro, there's this kind of voiceover that says, like Damballa is a Loa who's like a servant of the all powerful. Baron Samedi, like, okay, well, you're already completely out of your element. Yeah. So yeah, they're playing pretty fast and loose. They got the snakes. They got that right. There's a chicken in the beginning with the little guy. They got that right. Other than that, like you said, belly dancing is not voodoo.
It's not. It just isn't.
So
but, yeah,
there's a central mystery. Of this thing, and we're going to wrap this up here, is who is Damballa? Who is this mysterious character? And I did like that they had that kind of old cereal or whatever. It was like Judex or something like that, where it's like, who is this character who has like the Claude Rains Invisible Man goggles and like he almost like a plague doctor outfit, and he just kind of oversees these things. And I did kind of like on second watching, like, oh, he's actually kind of hanging out. Like they'll be doing a ritual dance thing in this weird cave mountain, and you'll see him in the background, just like his eyes, like the lenses on his goggles, like reflecting light. It's like, oh, he was there all the time. They just were really bad about, there's like no direction on this, like on that footage. If they would have teased that and worked it, it would have been cooler.
Yeah. But
I didn't even realize it until the second time through, and it's like I had to struggle. So most reviews you read of this are going to tell you who Dumbala is from the get-go, and if you are more older than 6 years old, I think you'll put it together probably just by the names of the people and the actors who are in it.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll definitely do it. Yeah. Well, let's not belabor it. I'm gonna give it one claw down. Of course, down. I have an antidote. Do you?
Yep.
Okay.
We probably have the same antidote though.
Is it the? Did you watch the movie? Which TV movie with?
Oh no! Oh good. No, I'm glad we done the same one. You go first.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna forget the title. What was the movie we watched? It was a TV movie. Forgive me if I get this title wrong.
I'm looking it up right now.
It's the Ghost of Sierra Cobre.
Yeah.
DE, Ghost of Sierra de Cobre. It was a pilot for a film. It was a pilot for a potential TV series. It had a lot of people that worked on The Outer Limits, and Martin Landau was the star and producer. And they made this pilot. That was Martin Landau plays a character who is a famous architect and paranormal investigator, and he is hired to investigate this haunting, and it is so fucking cool. And according to the story, they did show this pilot, and people called in and said it was too scary for just like normal ass TV. It is really, really cool. Alicia ran into it just by watching some crappy movie on Prime, and then it auto-played afterwards. And she was like, what the fuck is this? And right as I got home, she made me watch it and was just like, this is so good. And it is. And there's an effect. There's a ghost called the Bleeding Ghost. And the effect that they use is very similar to an early episode of The Outer Limits. It's almost like a photo negative.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's beautiful and awesome. And the performances are great. And I just couldn't believe like this almost was a series. This would have been one of the coolest fucking series. Yeah. Like this character, everything about it is just great. It's on Amazon Prime right now. You can just watch it for free if you have Prime. And so what they did, it was a 45-minute pilot, and they stretched it out to make it like a 75-minute movie. And it was shown, it was a TV movie, so it was aired. And so obviously they kind of padded it to make it into a feature length. But the way they padded it, it's almost like they left these really long shots. And Alicia's like, yeah, this is kind of David Lynch weird. Like it's just like someone like staring at a wall for 2 minutes, or just like, it's just strange. And it was one of those to where I think it's been lost for a long time. And so I think just in like 2017 or something, it was found, and kind of, I think Kino did a Blu-ray of it. But when I was watching this, Matt, I couldn't text you fast enough. Yeah. I was just like, oh my God, if Matt has not seen this, this is your DNA is in this TV movie.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to watch it. ASAP is top of my list. I've definitely read about it. When you asked me about the plot, I was like, I've read about the plot, like in a film book or something, but I've never seen it. So, it's interesting. Have you ever seen Dark Intruder? It was a pilot in 1965 that starred Leslie Nielsen, and it's set in the late 19th century. And he's this kind of erudite, almost like Damon Hellstrom type of character, who investigates all these weird Lovecraftian like horrors. and it didn't get picked up, so they ended up releasing it as a theatrical release. But it's I saw one of the earliest H.P. Lovecraft film festivals when I first moved here, like in 2000.
Oh, that's cool.
Really charming. I think it's kind of hard to find. It might have been released in the last 20 years, but I will send you a file of it so you guys can watch it. It's just neat to see Leslie Nielsen playing a straight supernatural investigator.
Well, swear to God, like every time I see Leslie Nielsen, like I forget how late he came to comedy. Airplane's his first comedy.
Yeah.
Like everything before, he was trying to be a matinee idol, trying to be like the sexy guy or the serious guy. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I always forget. And I'm like, oh yeah, shit. No, he did until 77. He was like a straight actor.
Straight leading man guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Like on Hitchcock Presents or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah. Cool. Yeah. So I'll send you Dark Intruder so you can check that out. I didn't even occur to me that you were asking if I'd seen that in a sense of an antidote. I thought you were going to pick I Walked with a Zombie.
Oh, yes.
By Jacques Tourneur, produced by Val Lewton, written by Kurt Siodmak. Absolutely beautiful film. If you want, it was originally a version of Jane Eyre, transplanted to the Caribbean, and then they just kept kind of adding to that concept. And so yeah, it's about I'm not going to go into it. It's gorgeous. All the Val Lewton horror films are. Jacques Tourneur's movies that they made together are stunningly gorgeous. It is beautifully photographed. It is dreamlike and lyrical. And I can't, if you haven't seen it, if you've seen it, go watch it again. I mean, it's amazing. All that stuff is, and its reputation is fully deserved as a classic of horror, early horror. So, yeah, that's my antidote. It's awesome. Not free, but you could spend $2.99 a lot worse than watching I Walked with a Zombie.
Yeah, you could. It's a great pick.
Yeah. So our next one, now that we're finally going back to a mummy, we're watching a movie called Dawn of the Mummy, which is from, I think, 1981 or 1982. I was just reading a little bit about it on Wikipedia, and it said because of some of the crew or folks that are involved, a lot of people think it's an Italian cheapie, but it is not. It is an American production. So I went through my whole life thinking this was some sleazy, gory, basically like a not zombie movie, you know, because they are cannibal mummies. But it is not. It is an American film.
That's awesome.
So we'll be watching that on our Discord together. And yeah, I've been curious about this one for a while. I don't know if it was a video nasty or not, but I think it has a reputation of being kind of one of those. Probably also why I thought it was Italian was it's kind of associated with being kind of the gut munching gore of the early 80s kind of stuff. But I don't think it's that. Probably pretty tame by today's standards.
Probably. But yeah, no, I'd never heard of it. I'm excited to check it out.
Yeah, me too. I thought I'd give us a little breather from a stinker, because there is a really big stinker mummy movie I want to watch that I've always wanted to see. That's legendarily bad, like Monos, The Hands of Fate, kind of bad. And I think we need a breather, though. So
I agree.
We'll watch,
good call.
We'll watch something else and let Boris rest. And yeah. All right. Well, let's keep this one short.
Sounds good.
Right on.
So yeah, I'm excited to watch that next movie, and then I'm really excited to get back to The Living Mummy.
Me too.
Which it's been a while, and it was a while since that first supernatural thrillers. It was like, I don't know, 10 months or something. That was a bi-monthly title, right? So
yeah, I think it was either bi or tri-monthly. I think like between issue 5 and 6, and 6 was the Headless Horseman. I think it was 3 months. So wow. I think it's like 3 months later is when 7, which is this one we're going to read. So
it could be close to a year that passed in between the first and Con 2 story. So yeah, very excited to pick that up.
Yeah, me too. And Val Mayerick art, we're both big fans of his. So, you were mixed on Buckler. I'm a general Buckler enthusiast, but not rabid or anything. So I'm excited to see somebody else pick it up. Somebody that you're more excited about.
I'm very excited. Yeah. So no, that's it's going to be great. So yeah, we're keeping it short. If you are watching this bonus show, you're obviously a patron, and you should be on Discord. We have a lot of patrons, and I'm shocked that all of them aren't on the Discord. So even if you don't want to be on the Discord, you can just come on, watch it, keep your camera on, keep your camera off, whatever. But I highly encourage anyone that is watching this to watch along with us on Discord.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to mention this when I post the bonus show on the Patreon page or whatever. But a little hack. I know some people don't want to watch a video in the Patreon app. I totally get that. I don't either. But if you just hit play and let it play for 2 seconds and then stop, and then you go to your Roku on your TV and go to YouTube and your history, it's right there in your history, ready to be watched.
Oh, that's cool.
That's how I work around all this stuff. Is I just play it for a second, get it in my history, and then I watch it on TV. So.
That's awesome. That's a great hack.
Yeah. I've been meaning to say that for like 2 years and I keep forgetting to mention it. So that's what I do.
That's great. So yeah, from us to you, until next time, hail Satan.
Hail Satan. And hail Sweepy.
Hail Sweepy, who's lovingly on the bed, ignoring me.
Okay.